This one is a mammoth. This one definitely complicates things. Look at the pile without it and the pile with. The only book that I actually have to read is this one, and technically this one. So let's get reading. Little update on this one. I told you it was gonna be one of the paperbacks that I was gonna read. I sorted who was gonna be the first candidate for my reading list, and this one came up. So I read first The Atlas 6. I've not done it alone because I do work way too much during the day and don't have the time to read paperbacks that often. So I did read half of this one and half on the audiobook version on Scribd, but less Scribd. And it's finished, and I just wanted to pop in a very quick review. It was the book that I got for the book club of the month, and I'm super glad that I did read it. But I wanted to say that as a fantasy, this book was really good. The ideas that were in it was super creative. I love them. Time and space and power, molecular structures, so very different, and I really did like the magic in here. What I didn't like, and why this book didn't make the cut for the 5 stars, were the characters. The majority of them you can't stand. And another thing that really upset me was how much one of the characters was judged upon for her anxieties. She is constantly judged by everyone else, and she's constantly judged. Oh, she's stressed, she's insecure, or she's stressed, she's insecure. Well, even the people that are not stressed or insecure are complete bitches, but they never have a negative thing said to them about themselves from the other characters. They are just more kind of brushed off and never really being engaged with, whereas this other character that has anxiety problems and stuff, she's constantly judged by everyone else because of her stress levels, and I didn't like that. I think that stress can be annoying but also must be understood, and I found that everyone came from a place of being super annoying and super not good. So the people that you actually liked in the whole thing were maybe one, and she gets constantly judged by everyone else. But it's like, it's not that they are blameless, are they? They are not. They are annoying as fuck, and they don't deserve as much praise as I think they had. Some of them have more mention towards their ability compared to their personality, and she just gets all of this backlash because of her anxiety that I wasn't happy about. I really thought that they should have left it more neutral field. Maybe people that had beef with her before, yes, but people that didn't know her, don't know, not really engaging with her, and that's it. I thought that that would have been enough. So this made it for a 4.5 stars. The writing was really beautiful, even though the best part is the very beginning, and I will read you a bit of this very beginning because it's very beautiful, and I think it will motivate you to read the book. But be aware, the rest of the book is not in the same style because the first part is kind of a manual, but I really liked it. Perhaps it was a tired thing, all the references the word had already made to the Ptolemaic Royal Library of Alexandria. History had proven the library to be endlessly fascinating as a subject, either because the obsession with what it might have contained was bound only by the imagination, or because humanity longs for things most ardently as a collective. All men can love a forbidden thing, generally speaking. In most cases, knowledge is precisely that, lost knowledge even more so. Tired or not, there is something for everyone to long for when it comes to the Library of Alexandria, and when we have always been a species highly susceptible to the call of a distant unknown. Before it was destroyed, the library was said to contain over 4,000 papyrus scrolls on history, mathematics, science, engineering, and also magic. Many people correctly assume time to be a steady incline, a measured arc of growth and progress, but when history is written by the victors, the narrative can often misrepresent that shape. In reality, time as we experience it is merely an ebb and flow, more circular than it is direct. social trends and stigmas change, and the direction knowledge moves is not always forward. Magic is no different. After you read that, you want to finish this book, and that's exactly what I did. I've read the first pages, underlined absolutely everything, and finished the book. But yeah, in this case I had the help of the audiobook. In this case I won't have the help of the audiobook because it comes up on the 29th of March. So if I'm very slow with it, yes, I will have it, but on the 29th of March. And so this will be all read in the paperback format, which I'm not hating. It's just that I know that I won't be dedicating as much time to it as I would love, but you know, what can you do? I am very excited, so come along. Everyone, so between the first half of the video and now, I dyed my hair black, and they are kind of weird because they have some weird green sheens into here. I don't think you can see it from the camera, but it's very visible from up here, and I don't like it. But the black I think suits me, and this is beyond the point. I really need to get through this book. You know, I'm doing the challenge. I need to stick to the challenge. I think it's an awesome challenge. Just this book is not an awesome book so far. I am into it. Into page 120. And I can't get the motivation to go on. It's just boring. Don't enjoy it to the fullest. I'm just not into it so far. So I really want to get through it in the best way possible, and to do that I need to set myself a timer of a half an hour that I will read and then do something else, and then to get done with another half an hour. And I really want to get to the half of this freaking book. At least I think 80 pages today, and that seems very unachievable, but I really want to do it because it's taking me too long and it's really preventing me from reading other awesome stuff. My boyfriend has also just gone away. We have had the best weekend together, but that made me also sad. So I think that that's the perfect time to get into this book and hope that it gets better. Maybe it will cheer me up, who knows? Once again, back from the crusade. I read half an hour, took a nap, gonna read for another half an hour now. Hopefully get to chapter 10, possibly chapter 11. I hope chapter 11 will be my end thing today. Oh well, no, that's not gonna be enough. So we need to crusade further if that's all I'm gonna get. But it's okay, but oh god. I just needed that now. Well, let's put as objective for the end of the sprint 3 chapters. We will see if that happens, probably not, but let's do it. I went forward in everything. I read 2 sprints with this. It will be a total of an hour, and I got to page 168. I don't really remember where I was. I might have it in my messages. No, I don't. So I think I was around page 120, let's say 120. So it's a good number of pages that I went through. I'm very happy about it. But the story is, in my mind, a total double of Mulan. I have not seen the whole cartoon, but I know what the story is about because I listened to some critiques of the movie where it said that it was not impactful, it wasn't as emotional because the whole thing was surrounding the emperor, whereas in the original story it's around the family and values of the family, and she dressed up as a boy to go into the army and do all of those things, whereas here we have a monk that wins a battle. How? Creating an avalanche. Exactly how Mulan did it. And I don't like it. I don't like also how much jumping there is. Normally I'm a huge fan of jumping between point of views. The problem is that I don't know who these point of views are, because I have, yes, the main character, and that makes sense, and then I have the emperor, and then I have Ma, and then I have other people, and I'm so confused about all of those other point of views and all those other story extracts that we are going off of that don't make sense. So I will go through, I will keep going, but I'm so confused. This is just so puzzling to me. What is the sense of all of this? I'm just puzzled in general. I have a new objective. God, I hate long chapters. Okay, chapter 11 goes from 168 to 192, which is already 30 pages. And then chapter 12 goes from 192 to 220. 30 pages each chapter. I'm unsure if I will get through them. I probably won't because they are way too long. I will put as objective chapter 13, but I think that that won't happen because it's way too much. And I have a lot of editing to do, so this is my update on the book. I'm not liking it. Total rip-off of Mulan without added value, so it's a no for me so far. I'm really fighting for this book. I really wanted to exercise, but my phone needs to charge for a while, so I thought, what other better way than to read another bit? And that's what I will do. Read another half an hour sprint, see where I get. My objective would be page 222, and I'm at page 100. No, that's not gonna happen. What the fuck? What did I think? Well, but that's my objective, but we will see where I get, and then after that I'm gonna exercise, and if I have some more energy, do the last reading sprint of the day afterwards and hopefully reach page 220. First try. I'm definitely not gonna make it. I still have to do it. Not down yet. God. But it's fine. It's still not that late, and I have still some energy in the tank. And also want to get down with chapter 12, which is insanely long for my standards. This huge mammoth. So really want to get down to it, and then I will be at page 220 and I can call it a day. I have suffered enough. I managed to switch the ring light on. Let's not make it go down. I know behind me is a mess, but let's forget about it. I finally finished the book! Yay! I'm finally over this. And I'm not in the best array to communicate this, I'm sure, and you would probably want me in tux with a good mustache and nice makeup, but this is all you're gonna get. It's me in the evening. I've just finished this. I've just taken a shower, so I'm ready to discuss. So overall, how was this book? I was expecting a lot from it, and I was severely disappointed. I think my rating overall ends up being 2.5 stars, because for the first 3/4 of the story, I found no emotion in a story that should have been very, very emotional. It had so much potential. Basically, what I found in this story, as Mulan, lesbian, slaughters everyone to achieve her dream. And in this story, the main character is a female, and she wants greatness that she is not allowed, so she goes into a monk school, and then the monk school gets burned down, and after that she becomes a general, and she changes all of those positions to achieve greatness out of herself, and she wants greatness for herself and won't stop at anything for it. And I have comments on the greatness that I will come back to, but the whole story for me lacked a lot of pathos for several reasons. Reason one is that for me it didn't capture the essence of the main character. If there's a narration from a third person point of view, I think it should be an advantage, because it allows the author to embody different characters without ever taking a stand and having to make it too personal. And I think that here it was very missed. I think that overall I didn't like how many things were said to have happened but never really happened for the reader. Example, this part when she goes from the monastery to being a general, where another general comes up and just burns the whole monastery down to the ground, and you get this very small passage of, and he said burn it, cut right to another scene where she is in the city as a monk and trying to make ends meet, and you really don't get the pathos of the whole scene. For me, every single scene seemed rushed, any important scene of battle and combat, and then you have all of those characters that are constantly changing point of view, making it super confusing for me. I found it super confusing, and I read both here and the audiobook to see if it could improve, but it didn't. I was still super confused in both versions of the book. I found that the beginning of the chapters were not very good at explaining what was going to happen. Not that a chapter has to say it, but it was just not it. And plus it had this whole weird thing, third month, second month, just made it even weirder. I didn't really understand the timeline of the whole thing, but overall I think that the pacing was off, the way that characters expressed their emotions was off, and also the space in the page that was dedicated to every emotion. So for example, we had the main character is queer, well, she's a lesbian, and she falls for Ma, and you have a super detailed scene of them and very graphic detail about this much of the hand going into some places that you can guess, and I really didn't want all of that detail for that. It kind of felt like self-discovery, but out of no previous emotion whatsoever in any regard to this. And I don't know if it was to emphasize that Sue didn't allow herself to feel any emotion, or what else, but I didn't really like it. There was another point for the fact that Sue pretends to be a man in order to be into the monastery, and everyone starts to know her as a man, and she acts as a man. No one knows that she's a woman except a few people here and there for reasons, but that made it even more confusing, because if it was someone else speaking, she was a he, but if it was herself speaking in her mind, it was a she. And that made it so confusing, because it constantly jumped around from herself to others, and so this point of view constantly changed, and I really found it a bit jarring at times. It wasn't done in the best of ways. So overall, I didn't like it. I thought that the plot was predictable in a way, because really you have a Mulan story putting in the element of queerness, wanted to make it progressive, but overall it made it just okay. It's like, for me nowadays, having queer main characters is no longer surprising, and it's not bad, it's just not progressive anymore. It's just something that it's good to have, and in this place I felt that it was an extra. I felt that that amount of detail of the relationship was an extra, because I would have liked more of the adventure that was missing in detail of descriptions. And if I can compare it to another book that I read recently that was from Chinese mythology as well, it was Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and the sequel, and in that one you had marvelous descriptions. You constantly had palaces that were descripted to the T, and here you have barely any description. It's all plotting against one another, me going against you, you going against me, and when things happen, they happen so quickly that I didn't feel that I spent a lot of character time with the main character, but I didn't feel that I actually felt anything for her at all. Overall, it was a bit flat for me. The moral of the story is to do what you want to do. In this case, really and literally, regardless of the consequences. She wants to conquer the world, and she's ready to do anything for it. She just sees other people as pawns and as useful objects, and I don't know if the purpose of making her this way was to show that not only men can have that to hurt themselves, just as willingness to seek power for the sake of seeking power and never being satisfied with anything else. But overall, I found it not very okay for me. I think that the choices that she made, it's herself, but I personally didn't love it. And again, to compare it to another read that I loved, because the main character was so strong, but the side characters mattered, and love mattered, and feelings mattered, was Crescent City. In there you have Bryce, that is so powerful, so strong. She can shoot, she can defend people, she kills a person in Hoover's seat. It's like so strong, but she has feelings, and she has a personality, and it's not to say that she is purely feminine and I don't like a character that is different. I don't care if you're feminine or masculine or whatever. It's just that she can show her personality so much more and make you feel for the rest of the read so much more. Whereas here, I didn't feel that the character as it was described and presented made me feel anything, because there was no feeling from the part of the character when she did things, literally so cold-hearted that when I had to feel something, I felt nothing. I just wasn't sorry. I wasn't sorry if something happened to her. I just didn't feel anything. So for me, this story was deeply underwhelming, and I can't wait to sort the new book. We will do this in a second, but this one was a no for me out of the other ones that I've read in the challenge so far, because we have read The Mapmakers and that was awesome, and the second month we have this one that I have so high expectations from, and unfortunately it didn't deliver. Plus there was an element of magic in this whole story that came out literally, I think, maximum 3 times, for sure twice, but yeah, no, 3 times. And it was literally not at all the center of the story. The center of the story was hers. Not to have to say that fantasy needs to be magic, magic, magic all the time. It just wasn't it in the structure of how it was put out for me. And there were some nice things said, don't get me wrong, at the end, where she talks about, you know, wanting to be yourself and wanting to do things for yourself and not being sorry for others and just doing what is right for you and making your own decisions, which I agree with. But I think that that should always entail compromise. I feel that compromise is literally the key to any good thing there is. You have planning to work out with some other people how you feel, how you work together to just be in a good place, I think is great. Whereas here, Ma, in order to be with her, has to sacrifice her own self because she's very emotional, she suffers a lot, and some of the killings that the main character makes are painful for Ma, that is the female lover, and I feel that that shouldn't have happened. I see the message behind it, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree that in order to achieve greatness you are happy to sacrifice everything, even if it's what you really want. I wouldn't like this type of main character. I don't like this type of main character that is ready to do so much in the name of power that nothing else counts. I know that she has nothing and so she wants to survive, but once she can make a difference, she just, at least for now, she has chosen to make no difference. She just goes about killing people like the people before her, and she promises new land, giving it back to the owners, rightful people, but still nothing has changed. Nothing is different, everything is exactly as it was, and I don't agree with it, not at all. So sorry, but this was a no for me. And I'm also so disappointed because I had a recommendation from Bookstagram that I was like, yes, this is going to be the one, because the person that I have taken the recommendation from, Shadow Booker, is quite a well-renowned now at this point Bookstagrammer, and she does really cool content, and I have followed her recommendations previously and I really enjoyed them. So this one was really disappointing for me. I really didn't like it, so sorry if you like this book, and I'm sorry if you think I misunderstood something and I should rethink some points. Just write it down in the comments below, or if you didn't like it either, write it down in the comments below, because I really want to know why you didn't like it as well. And if you're planning to read it up, I would say, I don't know if I would suggest it. If you really like heartless female conquers the world as a kind of trope, this is perfect. This is for you. But now, forgetting about this one, let's sort the new one. Let's do it. I've changed jar once again. I know, I'm sorry, once again. This one I think is very fitting. It's a coconut oil jar that I found and I think it's great. Doesn't open. Okay, we have it. Oh, and yeah, I also have to point out, this one was the other book that I had sorted to potentially read if I had time during the month, but because this read took up so much of my time and it's already nowadays the 29th of March, I doubt that I will be able to finish this one in 3 days, and I honestly want to get on with The Luminaries as a book. So very honestly, it's okay not to have finished it, because the objective is to read at least one book a month. I managed to read one. I'm more than happy with that. So this one is back into the sorting and ready for me to sort it again. Let's dip in. Okay. Fuck. I'm screwed. This one is a book that is a mythological retelling, Moon Witch Spider King by Marlon Jones. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm screwed. Let me show you. So Moon Witch Spider King is the second of, I don't know if it's a duology, a series, or a trilogy, I don't know what it is, but this one is the first one of the series, and that's what I will start with and see if I can get any further than this, because this will already be so much for a single month, because, hello, this is thick. Good lord, it's thick. It's 620 pages, but in thick format. It's so huge. So, I'm screwed. But I'm so excited to get into this one. It's African mythological retelling, so I'm super excited. So, let's dive in. I hope you enjoyed my book review for this month, and I hope that you will subscribe to see the one for next month. You will see the one for this one, and if you have missed the first one of this series, I will link it down in the comments below and up here, so you will be able to watch it, because that one is totally worth it. So let's dive in, and please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and we will see each other in the next one. Bye guys.